Alan and I are out again along the Basingstoke Canal for another section along this picturesque waterway. We left off last time at Brookwood and so return here this morning by train. Woking is our target, along 6 or 7 kilometres of towpath and past several locks. Hi, I'm Warren Brand and welcome to another Linleys video. It's late autumn and we expect the colours on the trees and the sunlight to be idyllic for our amble out for a few hours today. And back to the old bridge where we turned off last time. Do catch that video if you haven't seen it yet. Locks are clever and basic all in one. They just sit there, sturdy, but yet without any drama for days and days if not used, with no use of energy or effort. The concept dates back to pre-electricity times, before the use of steam power, before anything much mechanical except for winches and levers. Back in the 1970s and 80s, when the canal was being renovated, about 120 new lock gates were made of strong oak, with fittings of wrought and cast iron. They are very heavy, of course, but simple. Their designs vary a bit, but almost all of them have the same basic parts. The top piece, which everyone recognises, is the long arm hanging over the side walls of the lock. There are two main reasons why this, the balance beam, is so large. It has to be heavy to balance some of the weight of the gate. If the gate relied on the hinges like a door, the hinges would wear so quickly and the gate would drag too much along the bottom floor of the canal and be impossible to move. The heavy beam counterbalances much of the weight of the gate, so there's less friction and wear. And also, most gates are moved by brute force, by leg and back work leaning into them. From school science, we know that the longer the lever, the less effort is needed to move a load. After the first 3 locks, the canal passes under Brookwood Bridge for the A322. For the next kilometre, we continue through an unspoilt wooded area on both sides of the canal.
It's for turning, I think.
Yeah,
turning triangle.
More to the side of the wide section of the canal here are a collection of houseboats, neatly kept and dating back to the 1960s. We crossed the road next to Hermitage Bridge, carrying the A324. In 1904, a steam traction engine plunged into the canal here, breaking through the original old bridge. Oops. As the canal curves around to the east again, it travels right next to the railway line. Well, of course, to be strictly true, the railway line margins right up to the canal, as it was constructed much later than the canal. The railway line is so close and slightly raised, the long retaining wall is strong and bold for several hundred metres. And just a little further along we approach the lovely village of St John's. Kiln Bridge is somewhat different to the regular brick arch construction. This fine example has wrought iron latticework sides and strong, sturdy piers. Named Kiln Bridge as apparently there was a brickworks nearby which brought about the early beginning of the village.
Oh, we have moved along the map.
Down here, we're here, and we're going to go to here.
Yep.
It is obvious when you look, but the lower set of gates of a lock are usually much taller than the upper ones, but only spotted when the water level in the lock is down. The bottom of the upper gate can be seen resting on a sill, a very flat and smooth surface of rock or brick at the bottom of the canal. Sometimes this juts out into the lock and the boat descending from the upper to lower levels needs to watch out that they don't bang on the sill as they're lowered down by the water. Alan and I stop here for a snack and watch the passers-by go about their interests. It's only just occurred to me, but we haven't seen any boats go along the canal today so far. Some lock gates have stepways bolted to the back of them so that the boaters can cross from one side to another. Whilst opening and closing the water sluices, there has to be a way to get across. With most of the locks along this section of the canal, there aren't such walkways, but much safer are these light footbridges with handrails.
I wonder if any of them are like canal cottages.
This part of the canal is so picturesque. The leaves on the trees are just beginning to turn for the autumn, and the colours in the low sunlight are just lovely. After this wider section of the canal, there's another lock just before Langman's Lane Bridge. Whilst looking around here, a chap with his daughter came past for the second time. We'd seen them earlier when we'd stopped for our lunch. They're now on their way back from a trip to a builder's merchant's with a wheelbarrow. A shout out goes to Andy and Anna.
Oh yeah, I thought you were earlier on. Absolutely.
The area either side of the next section of the canal here has changed so much over the last century. Directly south was Goldsworth House. It must have been a very impressive grand residence in large grounds, but now all gone. Parley Drive Bridge carries a new road to join up with the A324 and the newer housing areas south of the canal. It replaces the disused Arthur's Bridge, which is a little further along the canal next to Bridge Mews, backing onto a bulge in the canal which may have been the site of an old wharf. Nearing Woking and passing under the horrid new A324 bridge, the taller buildings in the centre of Woking are poking up above the tree line. Right alongside Woking now, this pretty craft is selling snacks and drinks, and if Alan and I were not so tight for time to catch our next train, we would have stopped for a coffee. The bridge here is a footbridge, but back in time it was the main road bridge crossing point into the centre of Woking, using a traditional brick arch construction. there are some statues of cricketers, one bowling and the other batting, along the length of this bridge. Clever. Cutting quickly through the shopping centre of Woking, we're making our way back to the train station and then home. At the end of this video there are link cards to other videos in this series, so do take a look. Alan and I have had a fine day out along the towpath today. There are 2 more sections to explore before the canal joins up with the way navigation, and we plan to do these in the springtime. Thanks for watching and bye for now.